On which one? On 13? Okay, so number 5. We have 2 and then x minus 3 squared minus 6, that one? Okay, so what we want to do on this, we're not factoring anything. We're just going to start putting it back together. So I get this. Is that okay so far? And then I'm going to go ahead and FOIL this out. But I know that I have to go 2 times it eventually. So x times x, remember those are both to the first, so that's x squared. Minus 3x plus 9, and then minus 6. Those are like terms. And then what you want to remember to do is distribute the 2 over the parentheses first. So you're going to get 2x squared minus 12x plus 18 minus 6. And then those are like terms. So you got some weird times when like terms start showing up. So you just gotta make sure you show all your steps. Looks like that. That seem to be okay? Cool. What else did you all see on the, yeah?
13.
On the same page?
No, yeah,
15? On page number 15, number 13? That's a good one to ask about. I haven't taught about that, and this is going to be a pretty easy concept to be like, oh, okay, I get it. So you kind of have a graph that kind of looks like that. Agree? So what they want you to do is they want to know how many total roots. So we call things roots, solutions, zeros. This is where it crosses the x-axis for the most part. So I have, this is the x-axis right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this has 4 solutions. And then, you know, that's the x-axis, and that's the y-axis. Okay? That's all it is. I'm not going to have that on the quiz, though. But, I mean, that's like, I wish it was. That's an easy one, huh? What else did you see for me on any of those pages? Feel okay? While you're still looking through, I'll pass out the next set of notes. This is kind of has quite a bit in it. I figured you did your homework, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So these will be also notes for Monday. And I think there's a little bit more in here, so don't get rid of it after Monday. There you go. There. Let's take a quick look at this. And I still have time to go over homework if you found something on homework. So PEF 17 is what we're going to do today. PEF 18, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 pages in, is going to be kind of a really big review that we're going to hit on Monday on a remote day. So if you don't make it, make sure you watch the video. That'll help you with because we have on Tuesday and on or Wednesday. So I guess Tuesday for you all, we'll have the unit test. So the big review that's in here would be a good thing to make sure you at least go over, feel comfortable with, study. And then it goes to GQF1 and GQF3, in which these notes will go all the way through the end of the week next week. Okay? So, and we'll just have to gauge how it is. In there might actually be the remote days for the Monday after break. Does that make sense? All right. Did you come across any other questions on the homework that I did not address? What's that? Cool. Gotcha. Hey, got a nice crack on your screen. Oh, you got to bring that up. I hate you. I'm just kidding. Anything else? We're good? Just make sure attendance is right. Yes, it is. Good. All right. So, let's go back in time. on my screen. All right, so we are continuing to solve by factoring. Okay, we know we solve when you have the one thing given called the equal sign. If you have an equal sign, that means you're factoring it and then you're figuring out what numbers are the solution. The solution means that if you plug that number back in, or numbers, it would allow the left side, or the side that has all of the stuff on it, to become 0, and that's what you want. And that means it would cross the x-axis if we were graphing it. Okay, we're not graphing these, so don't worry. So first problem, I have 3 terms. I want to turn it to 4. Okay, we note that it is equal to 0, so we got to make sure we attribute that to the end. My friends, when we have this quiz on Tuesday next week, or Wednesday, depending upon your cohort, make sure you don't add an equal sign. If it says just to factor it, you just factor it. If it says to solve it, you factor it, and then you set each of those equal to 0. All right, so I want to turn the x squared minus 5x plus 4 into 4 terms. It's 3 terms now. If my x squared term has a number, great. If it doesn't, put a 1. So I'm putting a 1 there. Then I'm going to go 4 times 1. I'm going to get a positive 4. 1 and 4. And are they both positive or both negative based on that? Negative. So 1 and 4 both being negative. I add 1 and 4 both being negative together. I get negative 5. Notice I didn't write out the rest of the factors. Okay, if you have to do that, that's fine. But I'm trying to steer away from it a little bit, have a little number sense. So then I'm going to bring x squared down. And then whatever order I want, I'm going to go minus 1x minus 4x plus 4. What do I have in common between those first two? I have an x. This negative comes down. What do I have in common between these? And then I can do that. Agree? So my factored portion comes out to this. But we're not done. If it's a solving problem and you get to that point, you're going to lose 2 points. Okay? You have to realize I had it equal to 0. So set both those equal to 0. So x minus 1 equals 0. So that means x equals 1 if I add that to both sides. X minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so if this didn't have an equal sign, if there's no equal sign up there, you would be done with the x minus 1, x minus 4. But because there's an equal sign, that means we're solving it. That's the big hint. Equal sign, take those binomials, set them equal to 0, and solve it. Okay? I've seen some kind of interesting approaches to some of this. I'll see students, they will factor, they'll get x squared minus 1x minus 4x plus 4. So they'll get to like this point here. So like you factored it right. And then all of a sudden, they combine like terms and go back to that. And say, there's my answer. No, that's what you started with. So make sure you're going all the way down. Okay, let's see, what do we got? Next problem. All right, so we have an equal sign, so we know we have to solve it. I'm going to turn these 3 terms into 4 terms. If there's a number in front of x squared, great. If there isn't, I'm going to put a 1 there. I'm going to go 35 times 1, and I'm going to get a positive 35. In order to get a positive 35, I need either positive, positive, or negative, negative. But that negative on the 12 means they're both negative. So what two items will add up to, or multiply to positive 35, but add to negative 12, both being negative? 7 and 5 is correct. So negative 7, positive 5. And of course, friends, on a calculator that I will welcome you to use if you need to borrow one. Of course, you can borrow one during the test. But just go through your calculator and go, okay, 35 divided by 1. Well, you know it's going to work. 35 divided by 2. If it gives you a decimal, it's not the answer. 35 divided by 3 gives you a decimal. It's not the answer. Go through and figure it out. Use some logic on it. So I'm going to bring x squared down, whatever order I want. I'm going to put the negative 7x and the negative 5x. It gives you the same answer regardless. I have an x in common here, so I get x minus 7. Negative comes down. Factor out a negative 5. X minus 7. So you get x minus 7 and x minus 5. Am I done? No. There was an equal to 0. So set each of those equal to 0. And solve. Add 7 to both sides there. Does everyone feel comfortable with that step right there? And then x minus 5 equals 0. Does everyone feel comfortable adding 5 to both sides? So you feel all right? There's our two answers. Friends, is there anything up there that you are questioning? Anything that I could enlighten you a little bit more on? I said more on. Sorry, the joke's in stirrup. Yeah. So, which color are you looking at? Which side? Right or left? Green on the left, so over here. Yes, 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 yes. Well, for what we're going to do, yeah. I mean, there are times that they might flip things around. So how it's x squared minus 5x plus 4, how it's second squared, or 2, you have a exponent of 2, exponent of 1, no exponent. That's called standard form. It's just kind of a way of writing it neater. There's times they might give those to you out of order, but you can always change the order, just as long as the sign preceding it goes along with it. And I think we might see something like that later today. May I move on a smidge? Okay, let's see. We have an equal sign, so we know we're going to have to solve it. I have 3 terms here. Those 3 terms I want to turn into 4 terms. Okay, if in front of x squared is a number, great. If not, put a 1. So 9 times 1 is positive 9. Are they both positive or are they both negative? Is that a positive or negative? That right here? It's supposed to, it's a bad excuse for a plus sign, but we're going to make sure it looks like an okay positive. I don't know if I made it worse or better. So it's positive, so that means everything's going to be positive here. So what factors of 9 add to 10? What 2 numbers? How much?
1 and 9.
1 and 9? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, 1 and 9 added together give me 10. If I chose 3 and 3, 3 and 3 added together give me 6, I believe. So you got positive, positive, x, x. So I'm going to get x squared plus 1x plus 9x plus 9. Of course, I could have flip-flopped the 9x and the 1x, and it's still going to work. So it looks like I have an x in common here, so that gives me x plus 1. That positive comes down. I have a 9 here, that's x plus 1. Those are the same, what you want. So friends, if you get stopped here, you're going to miss out on 2 points. And I think they're the easier points. It's equal to 0, so set it equal to 0. Set each of them equal to 0. You can drop the parentheses. So x equals negative 1. X equals negative 9. You want to get all those points. That's a 9, right? That's a bad excuse for a 9. Man, I'll tell you. It's like, where'd you learn how to write? Obviously not in a good place. That is a Z, yes, on that next problem. All right, so x equals negative 1, x equals negative 9. Then this next problem, we're missing a middle term. So a few things that we have to go. Okay, is that a perfect square? Yeah, z times z is z squared, so it's a perfect square. Is 4 a perfect square? Yeah, because 2 times 2, right? Is it separated by a subtraction sign? Yeah, so it's going to be the same exact binomials with one sign different. Oops. As I'm saying one sign different, I'm making the same sign because I'm a moron. All right. So then I'm going to remember it's equal to 0, so make sure you bring it down. So z plus 2 equals 0. Z minus 2 equals 0. Subtract the 2. Add the 2. That's what it comes to. So when you have two terms, you have to kind of use some critical thinking. If you're not sure if a number is a perfect square on the calculator, there's a square root button. So do the number, then hit square root. If it comes out to a whole number, then it happens to be a perfect square. So if you're like, oh, I can't remember 49 is a perfect square, go 49 square root. Oh, it's 7. Oh, that means 7 is a perfect square. Okay, can I move on? Yeah. Oh, great. You know what? I'm going to make a note of that. I thank you for pointing that out. If this problem had been this, if it had been this, it looks so the same, but we have that addition. Because of that addition, this won't factor. So if, maybe make a little note of that just in case. It looks like won't farter. It won't factor. Darn calligraphy. Won't factor. Or you could call it prime. It's your choice. Okay, I thought the calligraphy pen would be a really good idea. Obviously, it turned into a train wreck. All right, can I move on? Let's see. I got this one, 6 more. Okay, I think we do it. And we get out here a smidge early. We get out here at 5, so I think we're okay. They have a video they want you to watch during your second period class at the end or something like that. I don't know. I don't have a second period class, so I don't even bother watching it. So, hey, friends. This one has 2 terms. Okay, has 2 terms. Is 3 a perfect square though? No. Is 12? No. Huh. Let's see. I know it's equal, so I have to set it equal. So I'm going to look for a greatest common factor here. I think 3 goes into both. Do you think that's okay? Let me just stop there for a minute. Yeah. Okay, now my friends, does this have a letter associated with it? Is there a letter with that 3 at all? No. So that means it's not going to impact our answer. Okay? Won't impact answer. Okay, if there was a letter with it, it was 3x, it would. So I'm going to choose to ignore for now. Okay? But then I'm going to look at this portion. What can you tell me about this, my friends? It's 2 terms, 2 perfect squares, subtraction sign. Yes? Perfect square, subtraction sign. So this will become x plus 2 and x minus 2. And it's equal to 0. So set each of those equal to 0 and solve. So I get x equals negative 2. X equals positive 2. So that one kind of just has a little extra something in there to note. So if there's not a letter with GCF, greatest common factor, then ignore that number. Okay? Okay. Seem to be going okay. All right. This one only has 2 terms. They are not both perfect squares because x sitting alone is not a perfect square. So I have to realize I have a greatest common factor of x. And I get that. So this is my first answer. That always becomes the unsure answer going, ooh, can x really be equal to 0? Well, 0 is a number. Thank you so much to the ancient Aztecs for discovering nothingness. I mean, seriously, got to give props where props is due. Like, could you imagine you're going through back in the Roman numeral ages? What's the answer? It's I, V, V, I, V, V, I, X, V, I, V, V, I, X. Okay. Thank goodness we got away from that. Back in my day when I'd start, someone asked for your phone number. What's your phone number? VIII, III, IV, IX, I, II. Oh shoot, there's not a term for 0. So you couldn't give your number if you had a 0 in your phone number. All right, and then I have x minus 1 equals 0 as well. So add 1 to both sides. So here's my two answers. Again, when it's squared, when it's raised to the second power, that means you have two answers, which is an okay gig. Can we move on? 4 left, yes? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. These both have something in front of x squared. That's okay. Things to note, we have an equal sign, so you're never going to solve it. This right here, these three terms, do not have the same a number I could factor out of all. Some people might say, well, 3. Well, 3 doesn't factor out of 10. If my x squared term has a number, great, it does. So I'm going to go 3 times 3. I'm going to get a positive 9. What do you know about that, though?
9 times 1. Negative.
Both negative. 9 and 1. I like it. Negative 9, negative 1, x and x. We got right there. All right, so I get 3x squared in whatever order you want. So I'm going to go minus 9x minus 1x plus 3. I have a 3x in common here. This negative comes down. Make sure you bring the negative out with a 1. Make sure the signs change on the other one. So you get x minus 3 and 3x minus 1. Friends, it was equal to 0. Therefore, these will be equal to 0 as well. Don't lose out on two very simple points. X equals 3. And what do you think the other one is? 3x equals 1. Good, because you added to both sides. And then x equals 1/3. Hey, is it okay to have a fraction for an answer? Yeah, fractions exist. So we get an answer of 3, and we get an answer of 1/3. Muhammad, doing all right? Yeah, baby. Okay, next question up there. Let's see. I have 3 terms. It's equal to 0, so we'll make note of that. We have 3 terms. Those 3 terms, it doesn't appear I have a number that goes into 5, 11, and 2, other than 1, so we don't count 1. 1's the loneliest number, according to a band called Three Dog Night out of the 70s. So if my x squared value has a number in front of it, it does. It has a 5, so I'm going to go multiply those. So that's going to give me positive 10. And both of the factors have to be positive because that's positive there. And so I think 1 and 10, 1 times 10 is 10, 1 plus 10 is 11. They're both positive. X is with both. So I get 5x squared plus 1x plus 10x plus 2. Factor on x, so that gives me 5x plus 1. Plus sign comes down. I think 2 goes into both of those. At least last week it did. Good, those are the same. That's what you want. Remember, it was equal to 0. Do not forget this last step. Subtract 1, subtract 1. This is one that you might have to show a couple steps because sometimes it gets harder to try and do in your head. So I get x equals negative 1/5. That's totally an appropriate answer. And then this one is going to be x equals negative 2. So my answers are negative 2 and negative 1/5. Yee-haw. Everyone still okay? Quiz on the next time we have class, right? Not during the remote day. We'll do it in class. All right. Okay. So we've changed gears a little bit. Now, friends, when you look up at both those problems, is there an equal sign? That means we're going to solve it because we have an equal sign on both. Agree? But do either of those have equals 0? No. All right, so I need to figure out what I want to move. So I'm going to go minus 9x plus 20 plus 20. So on the left side, I'm going to get x squared minus 9x plus 20. On the right side, those cancel, so that gives me 0. Now that looks like something that we've just done. So you have to know that it's okay to move something over. As long as you do something to one side of the equal sign and you do it to the other side, it's totally legal move to do in math. Okay? All right, I now have my 3 terms. If x squared has a number in front of it, great. If not, put a 1. So we're putting a 1. So I get positive 20. This sign here tells us they both have to be negative. What do you think? Giddy up. Good job. -4 and -5. Make sure you have an x with both -4 and -5 added together. Give me -9. I love it. So I get x squared minus 4x minus 5x plus 20. I have x and x minus 4. Negative 5x minus 4. Did I do that right? I factored a -5 out of -20. It should be -4, right? Because negative times negative makes it a positive 20 again. Okay, so I get x minus 4, x minus 5. It was equal to 0 once we modified it. So I'm going to get x minus 4 equals 0. So add 4 to both sides. X minus 5 equals 0. Add 5 to both sides. There's my 2 answers. Very last question of your week, right? There wasn't anything more, was there? Yay, we're done. Okay. Last question. So, friends, take a look at the problem on the left. We had to make it equal to 0. The problem on the right is not equal to 0. What do you want to do to both sides to get it? Subtract 15, right? Yeah. You had the 15 going. You got there. Yeah, because that's a positive 15, I want to do the opposite. So if I move that over, those cancel out. So that gives me 2x squared minus x minus 15. And then it's going to be equal to 0. Okay, does everyone feel comfortable with that little move? Don't let that get hung up. I think it's a simple thing, but it's also a simple thing to forget. I've actually had kids go and change equal signs to like plus or minus. It's like, no, you can't change the sign like that. Well, I did. Well, that's incorrect. All right, we have 3 terms here. It doesn't look like I could factor anything out of all 3 of those terms. If my x squared term has a number, it does. We don't have to add a 1. So I'm going to get -30. And we've heard this so many times that if you multiply 2 numbers together and get a negative, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. What factors of 30 would give me -1? What do you think? I think they work. They're real close together, I'll tell you that.
30 and 1.
30 and 1, if I add those together, I'd get either 29 or -5 and 6. Here we go. So positive 5, yes, and -6. Positive 5 and -6 add together give me a -1. Make sure you put an x with both of those. So I'm going to get 2x squared plus 5x minus 6x minus 15. To get x, that gives me 2x plus 5. I think that negative needs to come out, and I can factor a 3 out of both of those. Change the sign because you factored negative out, yes? So have I gone through these factoring using the same type of verbiage, even when we're solving them? I hope so. I've tried to. All right, so I get 2x plus 5 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. So that's going to give me, I'm going to add 3 to both sides, so that's the simpler one. This one has a little bit more work, so I'm going to subtract 5, subtract 5. So I get 2x equals negative 5. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So I get negative 5 over 2. 100% legitimate answer. I like it. I like it. Feeling comfortable? So, my friends, I would say that, let's do this. Is that PEF 17 on top of that? Let's do PEF 17, the odds. If there's a word problem, then skip it. Now, friends, a few things to think about. I want us to do well on this quiz. I want your answers on your quiz to look like the answers on my test. I want you to get as many points as you possibly can. Okay, now, in that packet of notes, please have that packet of notes out for Monday when we're remote. Because in that packet of notes, we have a big review that we will go over. Okay, ask questions. We will go over PEF 17 during the Monday class. In that big packet of notes, we will hit that upon that review. I won't actually give you a homework assignment on Monday to Tuesday or Monday to Wednesday, depending upon your cohort, because I want you to make sure that you can go back and review the notes that we took. So in that packet of notes is good all the way through the end of next week, so please bring it back to school. But on Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we will indeed have the test. Okay? I want you to do well on it. I really do. So what are some things that we did? Well, some things to note. If equal sign shows up, then solve. Do not add equal 0 to a problem that does not have an equal sign. I've seen that all my years teaching. It's like, oh, he must have just forgot to put the equal sign in. No, there's not an equal sign. You just factor it. Okay? There are greatest common factors. There is combining like terms. Like there's a lot of stuff where we will go over on Monday. I will record it. Okay? So if you feel that you felt good about class, but maybe you're like, oh, sweet, I don't have homework, so maybe I should watch that review video because it's a YouTube link. You can scroll it forward and backwards. What I want you to do as best you can on this quiz. I think this class is doing really well. I will tell you, I have some students in some of my other classes. Some of my students have stopped showing up, and I don't know what I said wrong, but they stopped coming to school. I don't know why. It saddens me. But that's what we have. Do we feel okay about it? So PEF 17 odds. I'm going to stop recording now if that's okay.